Hello and welcome to our second Discover LC live stream. We've got lots to do today, but this is our second one. And we've got adult functional skills and GCSEs. So if you are a learner 19 plus, there is options to sort of resit GCSEs or do some functional skills to sort of give you some more skills for life. So we're joined today by Programme Manager for Skills for Life, Sandra. Hiya, Sandra.
Hi there. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Yeah, fine. Looking forward to this, seeing what it's going to be. It's going to be great.
Good. Do you want to tell us a little bit sort of about yourself and your role at the college?
Yes, well, thinking about it, I think I've been in Leicester College for 19 years now. Started off as a part-time tutor, just 1 or 2 classes a week and teaching English and Maths. And now I'm a full-time manager and I've been teaching GCSE English most recently. But obviously I know about the English and the Maths, so I'm here to answer questions about both of those for part-time adults.
Amazing. Cool. So we have a couple of questions, and then if you are watching online, do feel free to sort of submit some questions to us in the comment section, and we'll be able to sort of read those out. Hello to Yorick, who's already said hello. Nice to see you. And so the first question I have for you are sort of, what are the courses for in Skills for Life? So like what kind of thing?
Okay, so it is adult classes. That means for people who are 19 or over, and it's all for part-time. So if you're on a full-time course, then your English and Maths will be part of that. But if you want a part-time course where you just come once a week to brush up your skills, to improve your English and Maths and to get a qualification to move on, then we're the place for you. Obviously, there are lots of other areas in the college that do English and Maths, so it is a bit complicated. Obviously, if you're on an apprenticeship or you're about to sign up to one, then they will do English and Maths for you. Similarly, some people want to improve their language, their spoken skills and their grammar. And obviously the ESOL department, which is English for speakers of other languages, they will look after you for your spoken language and improving that. But if you're confident with your spoken English and you're not on an apprenticeship, you're 19 years or over, then we're probably the course for you if you want a part-time course. The only people who might be on a full-time course who would come to us are if you're doing a higher education course, a university level course, then, and you still want to do your English or Maths, you could come to us. So I hope that just about, yeah, who we're for.
Cool. So what is the difference between functional skills and GCSEs?
Okay, we do both, and that's because functional skills starts at all levels. It starts at entry level, goes up through the entry levels to level 1 and level 2. And functional skills is very much about the sort of English and Maths that you need in your everyday life, the sort of things that you might need at home or at work or in other contexts. So for things like English, it might be writing letters or maybe writing a short magazine article if you're part of a charity or an interest group or something like that. You might do a little article. And so you learn to read and write those sort of things and improve your English. For the Maths, similarly, it's all about everyday maths, the sort of things that you'll come across in sort of life and going to work. So it might be including things that you would need for a DIY project at home if you're into wallpapering or something. So you've got to be able to measure and then doing sort of basic adding, subtracting, multiplying, those sort of things. So those sort of things come under functional skills, much more the sort of everyday, the sort of things that we all want to be able to do. GCSE is a little bit bigger than that. It's sort of a slightly broader subjects, more things that you've got to do. So the English actually includes imaginative writing and reading texts from lots of different centuries, and as well as writing letters and things like that. Similarly, the Maths, you know, all those things that you may not remember or may remember from school, like algebra and trigonometry and the more difficult bits perhaps. Yeah. So that would come under GCSE, but the functional skills is the sort of stuff that we would come across more day to day. The other big difference between the two courses, of course, GCSE is a one-year course and then national exams at the end of the year. You can't move those. That's, you know, everybody in the whole country does them. Functional skills, you don't have to start at the beginning. Most people do, but if you can't start at the beginning of the academic year, you can come later on. We have some shorter courses, and it's up to the college when to put the exams on. So it's a bit more flexible there. Might not be a full year course.
Fab, yeah, because I didn't know that functional skills was sort of different to GCSEs up until sort of we started talking. But functional skills sounds like the kind of thing that when students in school were like, why are we going to do triangles? We're never going to use triangles. Functional skills sounds like the kind of thing where you're like, it's not triangles, but I know how I'm going to use it. So that's good to hear. So we have had a question, and it's not really necessarily to do with adult functional skills. But Yorick said, what if you're under 19 and just doing a level 1, 2, or 3 vocational? So most of our courses at level 1, 2, and 3, if you haven't passed your GCSEs at a grade 4, sort of English and Maths, we will offer you the chance to do those alongside your courses. So it's not adult functional skills, but you will get the chance to sit those GCSEs alongside doing your vocational course. And we've also had a comment from Sammy, which is quite a nice comment, saying the DBOC at Freeman's College is a great place for everyone who needs a little bit more help with English or Maths. Love it. That's really nice. Just to build our ego up a little bit. So the next question I have for you is, what sort of GCSEs do we offer to adults at Leicester College?
Okay, so in Skills for Life, we do English, we do Pearson EdXL, English Language, 9 to 1, and we do AQA Maths, 9 to 1. The 9 to 1 bit, for those who are slightly older, may not have come across it before, that's the way the grading's done now. 9's the top grade, 1's the bottom grade. The old C grade or pass grade is now a 4, a grade 4. Obviously, all the younger viewers will be very familiar with this, but some of us old ones we remember A's and
yeah, exactly. I still get confused, but I know eventually we'll figure it out, and we'll all be used to saying 1 to 9 again. Yeah. Cool. So what will you learn in sort of GCSE English, and what kind of things do you sort of teach?
Okay, in the English language course, you read extracts from the 19th century, the 20th and the 21st century, and you learn to analyse those texts and explain how they've been written. You don't have to read a whole book. You don't have to have set texts, and you don't do poems or Shakespeare. So that might be good news for some people. You do have to obviously write as well. So we do imaginative writing, and you also do non-fiction writing, so letters, speeches, articles, things like that. The spelling and the punctuation and things like that are important, obviously, in your writing. We don't do a lot of work specifically on that because, to be honest, we don't have time. There's so much else we've got to get through. But obviously, your tutor will help you and direct you if that's something that you need to work on yourself alongside the writing work that you do. The other thing that you have to do in GCSE is speaking and listening endorsement. You do a presentation to your class, and people tend to be a little bit nervous about that at first, but actually they absolutely love doing it when it actually comes to it, and that's really good fun. And then at the end of the year, there are 2 written exams for GCSE English.
Cool. I do remember sort of doing my GCSE speaking and listening a little while ago now, and it was my absolute favourite thing. I was like, I don't really like writing, but I can speak for England, so put something in front of me and I can answer it. So Yorick would like to know on YouTube, he's asked, or they've asked, are there any exams in functional skills? I can't remember if you said there was or not. So
yes, there are functional skills exams. Both the English one, you'll have a reading and a writing exam separate, and you'll also do speaking and listening. You'll do a discussion and a presentation. And then for the maths, there's an exam, and it has partly calculator, partly non-calculator in the one exam.
Cool. Wow. So the next question is, what will I learn in GCSE Maths?
In the maths, Now, this is something I don't teach, but I do know about. There are 2 tiers in GCSE Maths. People might have come across that idea before. So higher tier, you can get grades 3 to 9. And the foundation tier, you can get grades 1 to 5. So that's a little bit more straightforward. But both of them, you have 3 exams. You have 1 with a calculator and 2 without. And the range of topics includes things like, I have to look at my list quickly, number, so, decimals, fractions, BODMAS, things like that, algebra, ratio, proportion, rates of change, geometry and measures, so that's shapes and measuring things, probability, which is all those things where we talk about the probability of how likely is it to rain, or the risk. Seems to be a lot in the news recently about what's the risk and the probability of something happening. And then statistics, all the graphs, charts and things like that. So all those things you do, obviously you'll touch on those even in functional skills, but some of them you wouldn't do in as much depth as you will do in GCSE Maths.
Cool. So speaking of functional skills, obviously you've talked a little about what you cover in English and Maths GCSE. So it's probably going to be where the big difference is in terms of the content. So what exactly is it that you would learn in functional skills?
Okay, so English, I just mentioned it's got 3 parts to it. The actual exam, you've got your speaking and listening, a reading exam and a writing exam. So for your speaking and listening, you'll have a discussion in class with a small group of up to 5 people, and you'll learn about how to make a discussion work really well and listen to each other and make sure you're engaging everybody in the group. Presentation, a short presentation to the group and answer some questions on it. Reading and writing, obviously it depends on what level you're at. You start off at entry level, doing fairly short texts and building your skills, making sure you can write good sentences, learning how to punctuate your sentences correctly, those sort of things. And the assessments at entry level are done in the class, so they're not quite as intense and frightening, perhaps. When you get onto level 1, 2, then the exams are done in more exam conditions. But again, it's things like writing and reading letters and making sure you're correct in your punctuation and spelling as much as you can, and that you're writing the right sort of things for your audience. And as I say, those are set exams at level 1 and level 2 for functional skills, but you can do them at different times of the year depending on the course. Maths, again, we do entry level functional skills maths, and then it goes on to level 1, level 2. So you start off with thinking about the really practical maths that you come across when you're doing things at home, and how we use number every day for simple calculations, measuring things. Maybe when you're cooking or something like that, you might measure weigh your ingredients. Then as you become more confident with those, you develop your skills, then you start to look at how can I use maths to solve my everyday problems. So if it is I'm decorating the room, there's loads of maths that can come into that, and then you start thinking about how can I apply all those skills to this problem. Or it might be something in a work context that you've got to organise. And so level 1 and level 2 is much more about problem solving with your maths. The maths might be fairly straightforward. It might just be multiplying to find the area of your wall, but you've got to work that out. That's what you've got to do, and to work out how much wallpaper you need. So that, I think that's probably the main things to say about functional skills maths. Obviously you're starting to think about interpreting the data, mathematical data, and have I got this right as well. So as well as working out what the calculation is, I've got to be able to check it and make sure I'm saying something sensible. So those are the sort of things you're going to learn there. And at the end of the course there'll be an exam. Cool,
perfect. Lovely little whistle-stop tour there of functional skills.
I'm not speaking too fast.
No, it's totally fine. So I have a couple of questions from sort of people watching. So Charlie has said, do I need to retake functional maths level 1 if I've completed it elsewhere, or can I start on level 2?
No, you can't take it again. Once you've got it, then that's it. So long as you pass, that's fine, and you can go on to level 2. We always ask people to do an assessment at the beginning of the course, the beginning of the year, to see where you're at, to see whether or not you're ready to go straight on to the next level, or whether you need a little bit of help to sort of develop your skills first before you go on to the next level. But yeah, obviously, if you've done your level 1 somewhere, you can come and you can do the assessment for level 2 and see where you are. It's sometimes quite a big jump for people, you know, level 1 to level 2, and same way, you know, level 2 to GCSE.
Yeah.
So we are able to offer some short courses that just help you bridge that gap. And if you're not quite ready to go straight into a 1-year level 2 course, we might be able to help you get there. But yeah, we always give everybody some sort of assessment at the beginning of the year to see where you are, how much do you remember of what you did before, and are you ready to go on.
Wow, cool. I had another question from Jessica, who said, is there a course in English and Maths that doesn't have exams?
Well, actually there is, in the sense that I've just talked about. We can provide you a course that will just upskill you to the next level. Obviously, the reason for doing that is so that you can go on and do the functional skills at the next level and take the exam. Yeah, most people want to do an exam and want a piece of paper to say, yes, I've got this qualification. But yes, it's not impossible. Obviously, if you've already got your GCSEs at grade 4 or C or above, or you've already got your level 2 functional skills, then you know you can't come back and do it again.
Yeah. But obviously with a course like functional skills, I know you mentioned that the first set of exams are a little bit more relaxed and sort of give you a chance to get, because I know a lot of adults may have been out of education for a little while, and sitting in exams conditions sounds horrible. So I do understand what they mean, but yeah, obviously a lot of courses do require some sort of exam just to sort of test your knowledge, but with a course like functional skills, you are sort of set up in better stead to take those exams, which is really good for a lot of adults, I assume. Our next question we have is, can I do a GCSE after completing functional skills, English and Maths?
At entry level 3.
Sorry.
It's a big jump to go from entry level straight into GCSE. Normally, we would expect people to have done level 2 functional skills before you go into GCSE, because obviously the GCSE requires a certain level of sort of underpinning skills and confidence in the subject. And so really for that, you needed to have done level 1 and probably level 2 as well. Sometimes for some people it suits to do GCSE Maths instead of level 2 because of the problem solving. But if you've only got entry 3, you really need to do level 1 first. It's too big a jump and you won't cope. I mean, you know, it's a big leap from entry 3 straight into GCSE.
Okay, so the entry levels go before level 1 and 2 functional skills. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so the next question I have for you is, where and when is the course and how will I learn?
Okay, now this is a slightly difficult question in that obviously before the college closed, all the classes were in college, and the GCSE ones were 3 hours a week, and the functional skills were mainly 2 hours a week if you were coming all year. The GCSEs were mainly at Abbey Park and Freeman's Park campus, and the functional skills classes are at different venues. So as well as Abbey Park and Freeman's Park, we have classes at Leighton Road and City Skills Centre, and we even had some classes in outreach centres like family and children's centres, things like that. Obviously things could be a little bit different, particularly in the first term this next year, because we don't know how much we'll be able to have classes in college, and there may be more of an element of online learning than we've had in the past. just because of the difficulties, obviously, of getting lots of people into college now. So things are possibly going to be a bit different, but it won't be a distance learning course. Whatever we do, we've always asked people to do homework and to do independent learning. And it may just be that there is more of that than there's been in the past. And you perhaps come into college less often or in a smaller group or something like that. So to be honest, we're still planning a lot of this and trying to work out how it's actually going to work and how it'll happen so that it's safe for everybody, but you can still learn and progress really well. So even if you do quite a bit of your learning online, you're still going to have a tutor who will look after you, teach you, interact with you in whatever way they can, and you'll get to know the other people in the class as well. So it's not going to be totally distance learning. So obviously still a lot of planning to do, yeah, it's going to be an exciting year ahead, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. A lot of the information, obviously, in terms of like the start of the year and how the course will run, we'll sort of find out a little bit later on because we're all still trying to figure everything out at the college along with the government guidelines. So those kind of questions, if you have applied, you'll be notified as soon as we know as to what's going on. It's sort of like online learning. What sort of thing would students need for online learning?
Okay, again, a little bit uncertain at the moment, but obviously need access to the internet, and your college enrolment would actually give you a college email and access to Office 365, which has some of the software that you might want to use. I guess some bits of online learning are quite difficult if you've just got a phone. You know, they're easier on a PC, laptop. I'm not an IT person, though. Shouldn't be saying too much about this. But also we do realise that for some people, you know, online learning is impossible. You know, you either haven't got access to anything internet-wise, or it just wouldn't work for you. So we won't abandon you. We will be doing things in college as well, because we know that not everybody can access online learning.
Cool. And are there evening classes available for students as well?
Yes, obviously our classes, because we tend to be thinking of adults and people returning to learning, often have families and children at school, so that the daytime classes are in the sort of school pickup times, as it were, so you can still take children to school and come to class, or leave class and go and get them. But in addition, we have evening classes for people who are working in the day, and they're really very popular for people to come along in the evening. We'll still be doing those. Yeah.
Fab, cool. So sort of a couple of other questions we've received from students or learners even. Charlie said, will shielded learners be accommodated for? So obviously given the situation, we're still sort of figuring things out, but as Sandra was saying, there's lots of online and there'll be a tutor there to help you out. So if you are a shielded learner and you do need sort of that extra help, we will be able to provide that for you in sort of a variety of ways. So you will be accommodated for, no need to worry about that one. We also had quite a nice comment from Sammy again, which I think it's not really a question, but I thought I'd quite like to read it out. Sammy said, I want being in functional skills in English and Maths. The teachers are so good, helpful with my problems, and I was shy until I built my confidence up. Thank you for everything, and it's a shame I won't be able to come now. I'm moving on to carry on my English and Maths. A big thank you. So that's really nice. Thanks, Sammy. Thanks for sending that. To put a smile on our faces. But the last sort of couple of questions I have for you. So obviously with functional skills, what is the progression like? So what happens sort of next?
Obviously, because it's at different levels, you can progress from one level to the next. And if it's appropriate, you might want to go on to GCSE. But obviously for a lot of other courses, then a level 1 or a level 2 in functional skills is the entry requirements for a vocational course. And it's a useful thing to have just in employment if you want to be able to put that on your CV, help you get a better job or something like that. Obviously, GCSEs are recognised qualifications if you're wanting to get into higher level study, university, that sort of thing, and for a lot of jobs as well. I would just say though that GCSE is a much bigger commitment in terms of the studying. It's a lot more work. It's more hours for every week. So for some people, it's not right. You know, functional skills is good enough to get you where you want to go. But obviously, both of them open up opportunities for you to get on in employment and to get into other training. So they're both good ideas. Mm-hmm.
Cool. And the last question, so if anyone does have sort of any questions that they sort of burning questions that you want answered straight away, quickly put them in the comments and we'll try and answer them before we wrap things up. But the last question I have for you is, how does a student apply?
Okay, the college website, if you go onto that, you can search for English and Maths, and you might have to go to the bottom of the list of English and Maths, but you will find adult functional skills and adult GCSE, and you can fill that in. We've actually got a list of all those people we know about already who are interested in coming to our courses. So if you apply now, we will make sure you're on our list so that when we do know how we're opening in August, September, we can get in touch with you straight away and tell you how to come in. Because normally we have assessments before you start the course to make sure that we put you on the right course, that, you know, you're happy with what you're going to be doing, and to make sure that it's going to be the right thing for you. So we haven't quite worked out how exactly that's going to happen in September. But if you want to apply now, that's great. We'll put you on our list and make sure that we have your contact details ready for when we can invite you in to do that pre-course assessment and get started.
Cool. I'll pop the links to those pages in the comments, so do have a look out for those just now. But that's sort of all the time we have and all the questions we have. So thank you so much for joining us, Sandra. Anything else that you'd like to add before you go?
Just that I've been doing this job for a long while, and the best bit of it is the students. I mean, it's just wonderful to have such a wide range of students, adults of all ages, and all sorts of backgrounds and different interests and different skills, and it's just a great thing to do. And you know, I think you'll enjoy getting to know the other people on the course as much as you will doing the course and getting your qualification. So
yeah, and don't be afraid to sort of go back to learning. You know, there's lots of people who do it. So if you are sort of considering it but you're not sure, you know, now's the best time to sort of take the leap and have a look at what we can do for you. So do have a look on our website. But that's sort of all we have from us. So thank you guys so much for watching. Our next live stream will be trowel trades, so bricklaying, plastering, which is taking place. Let me just check my schedule because I'm forgetting all the times are blurred into one now. It's taking place at, I think, 2 o'clock. So do sort of have a look and join us a little bit later on. But thanks so much for joining us, and we'll hopefully see some of you in September-ish time, as whenever we end up going back to college. Cool. So thanks so much for watching. So bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.